folks hold for one second.
You are as excited as I am about seeing Hillary Clinton tonight. My campaign is a woman-led campaign. My campaign manager, Katie Mae Simpson, is the mother of a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. And her 3-year-old daughter went around today saying, "Hillary Clinton," and shouting it all day long. Hillary Clinton is such a role model for women and girls, and it is such an honor to be here, to be back in Scarborough, to welcome her here tonight, and to stand up in support of Mike Michaud, who will be the best advocate for women and girls that we can have as governor. My name is Shenna Bellows, and I am running for United States Senate because working people deserve a voice in Washington again. Yesterday marked the 1-year anniversary of the day I announced my candidacy for the United States Senate. And since then, I've traveled all across the state. I walked over 350 miles from Holton to Kittery. And I met with voters and we talked about the need for people in Washington for a senator who will be the change we need to make America work for working Americans once again. You see, I grew up in Hancock, just outside of Ellsworth, the daughter of a carpenter and a home health care nurse. And we struggled when I was a kid. I grew up without electricity or running water until I was in the 5th grade. But I worked hard through my entire career, from the Peace Corps, to the AmeriCorps, to the Maine Civil Liberties Union, to try to make the world I sought to make the world a better place in the tradition of Hillary and Mike and Chellie and so many other great leaders. Because you see, I'm concerned about the future, and this election is about the future. Americans need a future that fulfills the promise of freedom, security, and opportunity for all. This is especially true for women and families. In these difficult economic times, more women than ever are the sole breadwinner. And the issues we're talking about in this election, raising the minimum wage, universal health care, equal pay for equal work, are especially critical for women. This is the only race in the country where a woman candidate is challenging a woman incumbent. And every election, people say we need more women in elected office. And that is true. But what they don't say is that we need more women in Washington who will do the right thing for women. As head of the ACLU of Maine, I was a leader in the Maine Choice Coalition and the Coalition for Maine Women to fight for women's reproductive freedom and equality. I will always do the right thing for women. In contrast, Republican Susan Collins has voted time and time again against raising the minimum wage to $10.10 an hour, against the Paycheck Fairness Act, against funding for reproductive health care. She voted for Supreme Court justices Samuel Alito and John Roberts. They brought us Citizens United and Hobby Lobby, the case that would allow employers to deny female workers access to birth control coverage. Time and time again, when it really mattered, Susan Collins voted with her Washington colleagues to deny women economic security and reproductive freedom that we need to care for our families, to control our lives, and fulfill our greatest potential as American citizens. But this election is bigger than the differences between me and Susan Collins or her votes in the last 18 years. This election, if Maine were to re-elect Susan Collins, that could put Republicans in control of the U.S. Senate. And we've seen here in Maine the damage that can be done and has been done with Republicans and Governor LePage in charge, and we cannot risk that federally. America is at its core a promise. It's a promise that if you work hard and play by the rules, you can achieve your greatest potential and your greatest dreams. America is a promise that everyone will be treated equally and given a fair shot. It's a promise that no one's life, liberty, or pursuit of happiness is worth any more than anyone else's. But Republicans, both here in Maine and down in Washington, have done their utmost in recent years to snatch that dream from everyday Americans. They've spent billions of dollars on overseas wars instead of investing here at home. They have attacked our citizens' voting rights. They have attacked women's health care and permitted the wealthiest among us to get away with paying less than their fair share. It's not that Republicans have changed what the promise of America is, so much as they've changed who the promise of America is for. This November 4th, we have a chance to restore that promise to families like yours and mine. I've worked closely with Cain and Jim Boyle and Chellie, Pingree, and Michaud over the last 8 years. I remember early in my career at the Maine Civil Liberties Union, a meeting with Michaud and Sarah Standiford, who works with Planned Parenthood, and we talked to him about issues affecting women and girls, and he listened. And then his staff would follow up before votes that would impact women and girls. That's who Michaud is. Someone who listens, someone who respects, and then someone who will stand up for our families. We can restore freedom, fairness, and the promise of prosperity to Maine families by voting the entire Democratic ticket in just 11 days. I ask for your vote. That's my path to victory. If we win the votes of every person in this room who voted for Barack Obama in the last election, and all the Barack Obama voters all across Maine, I will be your next United States Senator. For Jim and Chellie, and in the second CD, Emily, and for Mike. But I ask you to do one more thing. Go talk to 5 friends and neighbors. talk about the stakes in this race. Talk about why Mike Michaud is the best future governor of the state of Maine. With your help, if each one of us works our very hardest over the next 11 days, together, we can restore the American promise to all families to secure a brighter future for our daughters and our granddaughters. Thank you so very much.